Welcome to Discovering. It's December, and in the UP, that means muzzleloader and late archery season for whitetails. The temperature's hanging between 0 and 10. It's a perfect time to go camping. So we packed up the gear, got out of town, and set up camp for the weekend. And decorating a Christmas tree is something most of us do every year. We'll get some tips on what to look for in a tree and how to make it last.
The best smelling tree is probably the balsam fir. And then we have the concolor fir, which smells like is citrusy, like an orange.
All the people that come here are so happy. I don't get anybody grumpy.
So sit back, put your feet up, and come on along. It's Monday night and time for discovery.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
December in the Upper Peninsula. A cold day would be well below 0. A warm day would be 20 degrees. A nice day would be any day you can get out into the woods. Thoughts of bucks and rut have faded along with the colors of fall. But that doesn't mean the hunt is over. Here in the UP, December means muzzleloader and late archery season for whitetails. Add in the late small game season, and you've got plenty of reasons to get into the woods. And that's just what we did. We packed up the gear, got out of town, and set up camp for the weekend. Home sweet home. We were set up and settled in, and the rest of the crew showed up just in time for the evening hunt. The crew consisted of my son Jordan, who'd be hunting with a muzzleloader. My good friend Petey, also hunting with a muzzleloader. Another good friend, Petey's brother Russ, who planned on hunting grouse and rabbit, and he volunteered to be the camp cook. And me, I was here to shoot video, and spend some time in a tree stand with my bow. With hopes of some day one action, I tagged along with Jordan for the evening hunt. There's certainly many obvious differences between hunting with a muzzleloader and hunting with a typical centerfire rifle. Some say it's like a slow-moving freight train compared to a speedy sports car. If for some reason you ever found yourself in a position where you needed a second shot quickly, ain't happening. And taking a crack at a deer over 100 yards could prove to be hit and miss. And there's also the cleaning process that takes place after you shoot. I also discovered some similarities between hunting with a muzzleloader versus my trusty old 30-30. You hunt in much the same fashion as you would in rifle season. Hunker down in a blind and sit patiently. For this year, I did notice one similarity in particular. Hunting on this night would prove to be pretty much exactly what many hunters experienced this past rifle season. Lots of waiting, nothing to aim at. Our only reward would be a quick glimpse of an uninterested doe passing through. I'll be the first to admit I have very little patience when it comes to sitting in a blind and waiting for a deer. I can't remember the last time I hunted in a blind for more than 15 minutes without kicking the door open and hitting the trail. Put a camera in my hand and it's a different story, but when it comes to hunting, I'm walking. That being said, I wasn't that disappointed when darkness rolled in. The thought of getting back to camp to connect up with the delicious UP pasty that I knew was simmering away on the top of the wood stove was overwhelming. It's amazing how food can taste so much better relative to your surroundings. We finished out the day with a few snorts of whiskey, a bunch of stories, some new, some old, and the distant howls of a pack of coyotes backed up by the mesmerizing sounds of a crackling fire. Before long, the morning wake-up call from the camp cook. Anybody getting up? Today I'd tag along with Petey. We conveniently set up camp not far from the blind Petey hunts in during the rifle season. That gave me high hopes that this was the morning. It was exactly the same as the pop-up blind, except it was raised up in the air, built out of wood, had windows, and it was insulated. We no sooner got into the blind than the deer, along with one grouse, began to arrive. As in any deer hunting scenario, I began to picture where the big guy was going to come from. Probably straight out of that marsh in front of us. Could see it now. First just a glimpse of a deer, then a flash of a rack. I could already feel my heart beating and hear the story back at camp. Then again, maybe he'll come trotting through the hardwoods. A quick bite to eat before searching out a spot to bed down for the day. Yep, just a matter of time in this spot. Well, the morning drifted by and he never showed. Matter of fact, with the exception of the 4 does that came and left several times, it was pretty much just like the last spot. And exactly like rifle season. Nothing to aim at. But that was okay. My pasty wore off some time ago. And breakfast was calling. Back at camp, Russell was busy with breakfast. I'm not sure there's anything that smells better than breakfast when you're in the outdoors. The smell of coffee, cinnamon rolls, and Canadian bacon, with just a hint of wood smoke. As part of this adventure, I won't soon forget. The nice part about living in the middle of nowhere, even for a weekend, is that it forces you to relax. There you are, nowhere to go. You can't run to the post office or finish cleaning the garage. No putting up Christmas lights or running to the store. No porch to sweep off, no sidewalk to shovel, and there's not a chance I'll have to fix that wheel that keeps falling off the garage door. Just sit there and do nothing but relax. Dinner was in the pot. Venison roast and porchetta roast. Russell grabbed a shotgun and headed off in search of some late-season grouse. Petey headed out for a bit of afternoon rabbit hunting. Jordy headed out with the muzzleloader, and I grabbed my bow and headed for the tree stand. To be honest, I've never hunted the late season with a bow before. I tend to relate bow hunting to a lighter jacket and the colors of fall leaves, so 8 degrees and white would be something new for me. I can tell you, if you're a bow hunter and you haven't been out in December, give it a whirl. Even if you find out you don't care for archery in the cold, hanging on the side of a tree in the UP woods, waiting for a deer to show up, is never a bad way to spend an afternoon. And even if they don't show up, you still get the satisfaction of the anticipation. I did get to watch a doe and a spike scooting around my stand for a while. Nothing to shoot at, but enough to add a little bit of excitement into the afternoon. I finished off the night staring at a winter sunset and an empty runway. Time to head back to camp. As the day comes to an end, the evening begins. We were far enough from civilization to forget about the usual daily chores, but close enough that Patty and a friend joined us for dinner. Sitting around a tent in the middle of nowhere listening to El Marejo on the radio is not a bad way to spend a Saturday night in the UP.
El Marejo, you're listening to American Country Gold on 103 FXD.
It was sure fine with all of us. Matter of fact, pretty much everyone we talked to thought we were nuts for camping in a tent in the middle of December.
Hazardous weather. Moderate to heavy lake effect snow will continue to impact the Garden Peninsula through the evening.
But I think half of them wished they were coming along, and all of them would have had a hard time leaving if they'd stopped in. All in all, it was a great weekend. We hunted with a muzzleloader, we hunted with a bow, we hunted grouse and rabbit. Unfortunately, no animals were harmed in the making of this episode, but that was okay. Don't get me wrong, it's always great to connect with a nice buck. But just how imperative that is debatable. I think just knowing he's out there is what keeps us doing what we do, matching wits with the master of the forest. We use everything we've learned in an attempt to outsmart him in his own backyard, and most of the time, he's gonna win. We take what we've learned and come back the next day, or the next year, and try again. And then one day, everything falls into place, and we cross paths. He slips up, and we're in the right place at the right time. Then it's our turn. I guess that's why we keep coming back year after year, for that chance. A chance that we're in the right place at the right time. I think we keep hunting because of the ones we didn't get, more so than the ones we hung on the wall. And as long as we know he's out there, we'll keep coming back. We spend countless hours hunting, but only a few seconds taking a shot. As long as we can make it about the hunting, we can never be disappointed. The tradition of getting a Christmas tree varies from family to family. Some buy it from a lot, some get it straight from the woods. For me, it's a trip to Treichels in Kearney, because every tree comes with a dose of Christmas spirit.
We open our doors November 1st, and it's Christmas, November 1st. So I love all the different people, and they come from everywhere. I mean, we've got lots of people come up from Chicago. All the hunters stop, and they buy wreaths for their wives. It's like a bouquet of flowers, only they last longer. And then, of course, all the families come with their children, and they're so excited about Christmas, and they're so excited about their tree, and then we have the schools come, all the young fours and kindergartners come, and each class picks out their tree, and they have to drag it up here, and someone always plays Rudolph. And watching all those little kids fall all over each other is so cute. And Mr. Eric helps them tie the tree and make it look like a candy cane. And they get on the school bus and take it back and decorate it. We have them come back in the spring to learn how to plant a Christmas tree when they're young.
Well, the varieties we have here are white spruce, blue spruce, balsam fir, concolor fir, which is really becoming popular, and a Fraser fir. Our biggest seller is balsam fir, which we have a lot of. I'd say 90% of the trees we sell are balsams. But really gaining in popularity, like I said, is the concolor fir, but I'm having trouble even getting them big enough because by the time they're 6 feet, people take them, and because they smell like oranges, which is kind of unique for a Christmas tree, and the people that get them just absolutely love them because they do not lose needles at all. And Fraser fir is good for that too, where they hold their needles very well, and so do balsam fir. But the majority of people want the traditional, and they get the balsam fir, and they smell beautiful. That seems to be our most popular tree.
I do a variety of wreaths. I really like to go out into the woods the latter part of October, and I want to cut specific types of branches off of the trees, and I only do it a certain way so that I can come back and harvest off of that same tree the following year. They all have to be a darker color. Anything yellow, I don't want. I'm so fussy, I know, but I can't help it. I like to make every wreath different. I like to make different combinations, candy canes, kissing balls, medium-sized wreaths, large wreaths, crosses, snowflakes, with different types of fur. But I have different lengths, like say for a ball, I have the shorter stuff, and for a snowflake, I have something a little bit longer, and then for a medium wreath, it's a little longer, and then for a big wreath, of course, it's longer. So there isn't a whole lot of waste, because I don't like waste.
What we like people to look for is color. Usually the darker the tree, the more healthy it is. Generally when they cut a tree, before they put it up in the stand, they should cut it again a 1/4 inch off the bottom so the tree will take water. Because after you first cut a tree, it seals itself off and it has trouble taking water. And so if you take that 1/4 inch off the bottom and stick it in your stand and never let it run out of water, your tree will last into January. We've had people have their trees up into February before and no needles shed. But the whole key is to never let them run out of water. The best smelling tree is probably the balsam fir, and then we have the concollar fir, which is citrusy like an orange. If you like to hang a lot of ornaments on the tree, then I would suggest the white spruce or the blue spruce, because their branches are very strong and they don't sag when you put ornaments on. Some people like that. Other people like the smell of balsam or Fraser fir. Needle-wise, the concollar fir and the Fraser fir will keep their needles the longest. Balsam is very good. Blue spruce is very good, but I would say the tree that would have the shortest life would be the white spruce. Yet a lot of people like them because they can hang lots of ornaments on them. The branches are very stiff on them. People like just cutting their own. They know it's fresh and it's going to last for them.
You know that song, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year? It really is. All the people that come here are so happy. I don't get anybody grumpy. Everybody's happy. How can you not love Christmas when everybody that comes to your place to buy their Christmas tree and their wreath is so happy? Right?
Well, that's it for this week. I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll see you next week right here on Discovering.